Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Female Striving Over 30. Today, we're joined by the fabulous Lauren House again, who we had on the podcast fairly recently. And you'll be pleased to know that we've got her back, and we're going to be talking about grieving past versions of yourself. But before we start talking about that, let's check in. So, how are you, Saraya?
Good. I am so comfy. I'm in my new chair. I mean, I don't know if you can see this. I'm in my really, really, really comfy chair. Yeah, like this week has been good. A bit of an eventful weekend, but we're not really gonna talk about it. But I have a surprise.
Oh,
I mean,
when
it's
do
a
we get to
surprise.
find out?
It has nothing to do with the episode topic or anything like that, right? It doesn't matter. It's something fun. So, I am a lot into like AI and stuff. And obviously at work, I do research a lot of AI. And I have come across an app that I'm thinking is going to take the job of songwriters and singers. So this is an app where you can add whatever concept you have of a song, and then it creates a song. So I have asked this app to create a song for the podcast. Do you want to listen to it?
Yes.
It's so good. Okay. I just gave him kind of like the concept. Like I want two voices to feel like if it was you and me singing, we can pretend it's us actually singing this song and just telling you about like what the podcast is and everything like that. So it's a pop layer harmonies with some twist of country. Okay. So it creates same lyrics, two different types of songs. And so good. Okay, let's go.
We grew up with mixtapes and dial-up tones, wrote dreams on napkins, made the world our own. Millennial magic, we're wired to shine, breaking glass ceilings one day at a time. They said 30's the hill, but we're climbing higher. We're lighting up paths with unending fire. We're thriving in our 30s, got the wisdom, got the stories. The best is yet to come, you'll see. We're bold, we're free, we're everything we're meant to be. Thriving in our 30s.
We need to release this. What's the copyright with this? Can you release it as your own song?
I don't know. I'm going to find out. But that's version 1. And then there is version 2. Ready? Same lyrics.
We grew up with mixtapes and dial-up tones, wrote dreams on napkins, made the world our own. Millennial magic, we're wired to shine, breaking glass ceilings one day at a time. They said 30's the hill, but we're climbing higher. We're lighting up paths with unending fire. We're thriving in our 30s, got the wisdom, got the stories. The best is yet to come, you'll see. We're bold, we're free, we're everything we're meant to be. Thriving in our 30s.
Isn't this amazing? Isn't it amazing? I was like, number
Okay, so
2.
we're gonna
number
have to
2.
feature these. Yeah, we're gonna
Yeah.
have to feature these now.
I think we're going to have
Can
to
you believe
remove,
that?
like that is the start of our
Yeah.
podcast. We need to put the
Mhm.
chorus in now.
Yeah. There we go. We're recording artists now.
Yeah. If anybody wants to try the app, it's called KP Music, and it gives you a few credits for a free song. So use it.
Oh, yeah. How fun is that? Okay, so we want everybody to try this and then share your songs on Instagram or somewhere and tag us because I want to hear
Yes.
everyone's songs that they make.
Yeah. So just you put a concept, exactly what you want the song to be about, and it creates this magic. I literally had no expectations about what it was going to create, And then I was like, I'm impressed. I'm
Yeah.
impressed. And it's
Yeah.
free.
Yeah. It takes seconds and no effort, really. That's fantastic.
Exactly. But also so scary because it's like poor songwriters.
Well, funnily enough, I actually watched I'm into my true crime. I
Yeah.
watched a true crime today about AI, a very scary story about a boy who had a relationship with AI that ended very badly.
I
So
know that one. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So AI 's scary. It has its benefits, but it's also very scary. I'm actually going to do a true crime episode, so a little plug there. In a couple of weeks, we're doing a true crime
Yeah.
episode. So yeah, make
Everybody
sure you're listening in
vote.
for that.
Give us some ideas of what true crime do you want her to cover. I have recently, actually today as well, watched a new one on Netflix about this young lady that disappears from a cruise. So let us know which true crime do you want us to cover, because it's going to be Jasmine's episode. She needs to
Mhm,
investigate. So you need to give her enough time to do so. But yeah, in any case,
mhm.
that was my surprise. How have you been? How have you
I'm
been,
better
Jasmine?
now, now we've got our own album coming out. But then also, so it was my daughter's last day at preschool yesterday. Summer holidays have now officially started, although she was with my mum yesterday. But now it's me and her for 6 weeks. So let's see how that goes. I've taken the time off before she starts school. But now I'm like scrambling for activities. I've booked her into nearly every activity that I can find in the local area. So,
So yeah,
but
if
yeah, it'll
anybody
be
has
nice as well.
some tips and tricks
Yes.
for Jasmine,
Yeah.
send some activities.
Yeah. Okay, should we get into today's episode then?
Yeah.
So welcome back, Lauren, and how are you?
Thank you, girls. I'm great. How are you guys? It sounds like I just heard the debut of the next intro, which I'm very excited for. Both were very catchy.
I know I feel like we do now need to make up a dance routine that goes with these songs.
Oh, Lord.
I was
Yeah.
thinking country, like there needs to be a whole line dance that we can
That would
do
be
and go on
awesome.
TikTok and yeah.
Yeah, and get everybody to join in the females in the Thriving Over 30s. Thriving Over
Yes.
30s. Ooh.
You're so
I feel like
endearing.
we're gonna have to re-record it with our voices, and it's not gonna hit the same, is it?
Oh
Um,
yeah, no, I'll do playback. I'm happy playing like do playback with this. They sound much better than I will.
so today we're talking about grieving past versions of yourself and how you change throughout the years. So obviously, Lauren, this is a subject that you submitted that you wanted to talk about. So can you talk a little bit about like what inspired you to want to talk about this topic?
Ooh, what inspired it? This year of 2025 personally has just been a place I've never been. It's like everything that I know about myself is no longer anything I'm attracted to, I want to be. Even friends, sometimes I'm talking to them and I'm like, I feel fake talking to you. And I think that we all have these slow, subtle changes over time. And then when it all hits you at once and it's like 2, 3, 4 very intense months of like change and shedding, that's when you're sitting there going, okay, so now what? Because it's like the void. You don't really know who you're going to be. You don't know why it's happening. And of course, nothing is clear until down the line. And then you can look back and see and understand what's going on. But yeah, it's a fun topic. I'm sure you guys have plenty of stories of looking back and, even a simple example like seeing an old memory pop up on Facebook and you're like, okay, that outfit is awful, but I remember when I put it on how hot I felt.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. I mean,
Right?
I'm feeling a little bit left out because you both have your headphones on, and I'm just like, I feel weird. I need mine too. So I might get some for the next
You have the chair
episode.
that we don't. So,
Oh yeah, maybe. I mean, we cannot have everything, right? But yeah, like I know exactly what you're describing. I think like lately I have been going through those changes as well of like feeling like I don't really want to give my energy to this. As you said, like you don't really want to talk to someone that you used to talk often or whatever. And yes, the Facebook memories. Oh,
Those are fun.
yeah.
That's an easy example. But today I think we're talking about something a little bit more in depth, whereas it's like character traits and who you are and maybe your morals or where you stand or what your interests are. I think we're going down that road, but like a picture is always an easy one to refer to that everyone can relate to.
Yeah, because I think we've all been there, right? Like, Jasmine, have you seen like a memory pop up and you were like, what was that hair?
It happens to me like every day. It's either like the thing that I've wrote, I'm like, why did, like, sometimes the picture's fine, but the thing I've wrote on there is just like, why did I write that? Or,
God,
just
yes.
little things. It's like, why did I care about that? Or
And you know
sometimes
what?
I see posts where I'm like really wanting to be liked by people, and then that bothers me. I see it, I'm like, oh, I was so like dying to be liked.
You know what I saw in my very, very, very first post when Facebook came up, right? I was writing in the third person all the time because, it used to say like Soraya, blah, blah, blah. And then you get the status. So I just wrote it as if it was like Soraya is going to the whatever. And I'm like cringe so much. It's like, why was I doing that? Why nobody told me like that's not the way that Facebook works? But I have like years of me writing like that.
You grew out of that one, right?
Like,
I think we
Soraya
should go back
is
to
going
that.
to watch whatever. And I'm like,
That's pretty funny. I have not heard of anyone doing that one yet.
maybe that's why no one told
Definitely.
me, because I was the only one doing it, and they found it funny. And they just wanted to.
Definitely A for originality.
You know what? You both said something there about like this year, and I felt the same this year as well. I wonder what's going on, like, because we're
Mercury.
all at, yeah, or maybe, yeah, because we're all at different stage. Like, I feel like we're all different. We're all different ages and stuff. However, this year seems to be quite significant because I've been going through the same thing, just like a lot of shifts where I'm thinking like, oh, this doesn't quite sit with me the same anymore, or just kind of wanting to change quite a lot of things. More so, like, I didn't really think about it in the fact that it's me changing. I was more thinking it's me changing my external circumstances, but I guess that's a result of me changing and what I want changing as well.
Yeah. And
So
like
2025 is actually the year. So 225 adds up to 9, and 9 is the end of the cycle. Therefore, it's just like this blanket energy. Every single person that I talk to is going through something, and it can just be a simple, like, I just don't want to be at my job anymore. I just want a simple job change, but they've been doing it for 30 years, something. And every time, because I've noticed that people are really open to responding in a mirroring way. So when I say something, people always have a story, or they actually sit there and they're like, it's been a weird year for me too, or I'm glad you said that because I haven't really talked to anybody. So as wild as it sounds, everyone I've talked to is feeling it.
Yeah. And do you guys believe in astronomy and horoscopes and things like that? I mean, obviously, I guess, Lauren, in a way, you are, because you're numerology, right? I think like this year, my horoscope said this is the year where you're going to actually decide what serves you and what doesn't, and just make a decision, and just gonna literally cut complete ties with things that don't serve you anymore. And I was like, oh yeah, we'll see. But now that you said that, 2025, 9, blah, 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 I'm like, maybe it is true. Maybe it is happening. Maybe that's why I'm feeling this way.
Yeah, I think for me, definitely, like, I haven't looked that much into all of those kind of things, but I've always felt like there's more of this, like, I'll say, oh, it's like the universe when things happen. Like, I do believe, but I believe that there's outside things, but then I also think it's a lot of it's about kind of mindset. I think for me, I've spent a lot of time just trying to like ground myself back to just going out into nature. I've been going running a lot more in the fields. Obviously, I live in the countryside, so I can just go and not see anybody and just be, just be in the
One
world.
with the
And I
element.
think for me, yeah, bare feet in the mud. um, I don't run with bare feet in the mud. I think people would give me some strange looks. But I think just going away and being at the beach, I spent some time on my own and just like walked and just like close my eyes and listen to the sea. As cheesy as it sounds, like I've found that those things that I do and that I've done throughout this year, even tiny pockets of time, it just like connects me to just like my true self and like my core self, like who I am under everything I've created for myself. And I feel like it brings me back to maybe what I really want. And I've been thinking a lot about things that I loved when I was younger that I want to do again, that I've lost along the way and things like that. So
Yeah.
I definitely believe being connected is important.
Yeah, being connected is super important. And do you think that what you're experiencing is because you're getting older and you have more experience and wisdom and care less about what people think and social media and all that stuff? Like, do you think that plays any role? Because I feel like if you're a mom, which I'm not a mom, but I feel like anyone who's a mom, like they have a different level of certainty about them because they're like leading children, right? But I also feel like they have to grow up and mature a lot faster because they have children. And so to hear that you're feeling the change and you've already been a mom for a while, uh, it just is kind of like, is this just the next level of like, you happen to be a certain age, therefore it's just adding to that certainty of being a mom?
Yeah, I think there's been like shifts since becoming a mum. Definitely, like I've changed progressively from that point. I think there's like a strength that comes from having to be somebody else's voice. That definitely shifted as soon as I'd had her. I realized that I needed to be the voice for her and to demonstrate to her, like, you know, things that I didn't, traits of mine that I didn't want her to have. I definitely started to try to shift those. I've suffered with anxiety before, so things like showing her that I'm scared of anything, I do not show her that I'm scared of things. And I think having to act that way has definitely shifted me over time. But yeah, I also just think you realize that somebody's watching everything that you do, and that if you're not living true to yourself, how will she ever learn to be true to herself and not follow the crowd? I just want her to be her own person. So I think I've got to live that way first, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it requires
Absolutely.
self-reflection, self-awareness, and all of a sudden all those things that you do have a different meaning and a different weight.
And
Yeah.
I think like something important for us to start maybe diving into is obviously we know that we've been changing every, like when we compare ourselves to who we were when we were teenagers to what we are in our early 20s, late 20s, early 30s, and so on. It's like many times you look back and you look to who you were before and to who you are now. And sometimes you're like, why have I changed? And it's just kind of like, as it says the episode, right? Grieving that person, but I guess also in a positive way, not like in a, oh, I miss being that person, but kind of like learning what that person taught you that you brought with you to the present moment, right?
Yeah, I agree with that. And it's actually reminded me that you put out a post recently about going back to the gym and
Oh, yeah.
actually, yeah, like how that's different for you this time because you're in a different phase of your life and you're going back and it feels different and maybe you can't do the things you were doing before. So how has that been for you? I feel like that feeds into this conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think for me, like I cried at the gym that day. Like obviously there were like some people in the gym, so I cried like in the corner like this, doing this and trying not for people to notice that I was crying. But to me, it had been such a slap in the face, you know, being someone that used to do bodybuilding, used to lift very, very, very heavy weights, being super strong, to now not being able to lift that heavy because of surgeries, because of things that happened last year, and how much that mentally affected me, that didn't want me to go to the gym. And just trying to learn to love being back at the gym, being okay with lifting smaller weights at the beginning, knowing that obviously I'm in a recovery phase, that I'm not going to be as strong as I was back in the day, because obviously I started in 2017 up to 2024. So obviously that's like many years of building that strength in the gym. But still, it's hard sometimes to wrap myself around the idea of like, that's not me anymore. Um, that's also not who I want to be, because at the same time, I know that I have been able to be very disciplined with my diet, very disciplined with my training sessions. But now, even though I miss the way I looked and I would love to look that way again, I don't have the bandwidth mentally or the willpower to go through all of that again. So it's kind of like, how do I find that balance in between? I would love to be that way. I know I can be that way, but also I don't want to be that and be okay with it. You know, it's
Yeah.
so complex, and what a mind fuck, honestly.
It
I
totally is.
feel
I mean, even if you take like 2 weeks off from the gym, everything you've worked for the past 6 months is gone, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, there's
Yeah.
muscle memory and it all comes back, but it's just like you get in
Mhm.
there and you're like, wow, I'm like so disappointed in myself. And that's just 2 weeks. And that's like just because life got busy. But when you have surgeries and this and that, you do have to find that happy medium, because I'm sure what you looked like and the lifestyle, like parts of it were addicting and parts of it were hard. I've never done
Yeah.
bodybuilding, but I know it takes a lot.
Yeah. 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 I think it's just like, like grieving who I was and being okay with, yeah, that was one part of like my life back in the day. I can always go back to the pictures and remember like, oh yeah, I did this and all of that. But it's like, how do I feel okay with who I am now and not compare myself to that person? I think that's my struggle right now.
Yeah, and I think that's a big part of what we're talking about today, because the thing is, there are going to be things like there's definitely things I look back on and think, like for me, that's probably dance. Like I used to be a dancer for all of my like childhood, teen years up until late teens, and then I stopped, and so I've obviously not done it for many, many, many years. And often now I think, oh, I would love to go back and dance again. However, I know I won't be able to dance how I did when I was that age. So I don't do it because I'm like, I won't be very good. But then that's one of the things now. I think what I'm questioning the most, and I think this relates to all of this, is why I do the things I do. Like, what is my core motive for wanting to do it? And sometimes I think I only want to do things if I think I can be really good at it, or if I think I can be the best, or do it to my best ability. And I keep questioning myself and saying, why don't I just do things to enjoy it? And that's really hard. It's really hard for me to just do it and just enjoy it. Do you find the
Agree.
same?
I think everybody's like that. I don't know. Is that competition? Like you just want to be
Yeah.
better every day. Like to me, this year is like a year of the ego, and hopefully a year of people's egos being destroyed. Because I feel like as soon as you take that question and it's like, why am I posting this? Why am I trying to be the
Mhm.
best at this?
Yes.
Why? Like you just keep asking and like digging a little bit deeper. The only answer I ever come up with is my ego. It just like makes me feel good. And I have a theory for men, like as they get older, why they always want to date a 20 something, regardless of how old they are. And I swear it's because like their ego can't handle the fact that they're getting older. And I
Mhm.
think girls have that too, but it just doesn't come out in dating younger men.
Yeah. Yeah. Because like literally that you just said is like, can we in a way find what is the stereotypical way of feeling, like when you are in your 20s, your 30s, and now you're in your 40s, you're just like going into like a completely different thing. I am getting close to 40, like 2 years and a half, I will be 40. So I'm also getting into that part of like, yeah, why am I doing all of this? Like, why am I posting this? Why am I doing all of this? So who do we think we are or how we behave? What is important to us when we're in our 20s?
For me, it was fun. I just partied. I partied for more than 10 years straight, but that was my priority. Boys, booze, partying. That's all I cared about. I wanted to be seen. I was like, totally thought I was Paris Hilton. Social media was not a thing back then, but like
Uh-huh.
I would take a camera out and I would print everything. And then I would put posters up in my room so I could look at everything and all my fun memories that I had. And that girl went well into her 30s. And at some point, it's like, you don't maybe notice the shift, but all of a sudden, like a couple of weeks ago, I got in bed. It was 8 o'clock and I had my book. It was still light outside, by the way. And I was laying in my bed. I had fresh sheets. I just showered. I was like, right. And I was just like, you couldn't pay me $1 million to get out of this bed right now. I don't want to be anywhere else. I just want to be in my bed with my book, clean with my cat. I don't care that it's light out. I don't care that I'm in Miami. I just want this peace. And that's what makes me happy now. So part of it could be just like we did it for so long and the chapter's closed, but I still think you need to bring a little bit of that girl with you if she's there. That's what I'm struggling with. I'm like, how do I like go have fun sometimes and party sometimes? Because I know she's there, but I can't sustain doing it like I used to. Not a
on a regular
chance.
basis. Yeah.
That is like me with my like 1 to 2 nights out a year. That's just enough to satisfy the itch, and then I'm back to just being happy being in my house again after that.
Because I guess we
Um,
also need like longer to recharge our batteries, right? So we need like
A lot
4
longer.
months to recharge batteries for one night.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, I do.
Yeah, I do
Um,
agree that the 20s is like more party, more fun.
And exploring. You know,
Yeah,
there's so much
and make
that's
the
still new
mistakes.
to you when you're in the when you're in your 20s. There's just like so many things being offered to you. It still is technically just, if we're talking about college or even the first, few years out of college, you're kind of still exploring the world as an adult without parents. Maybe
Yeah.
you understand a little bit more like the value of a dollar, how hard you have to work to get somewhere. And I think that's part of it, is like you just have such a curious soul and mind, and it's like, yes, I'll do anything, and you don't care what the repercussions are, because at that point in life you really do think you're invincible. So yeah, I think it's just a combination of things.
I feel like for me in my 20s, I really just wanted to progress really quickly as well. I felt like there was like I felt like it was life was a race, like I needed to I mean, I switched jobs and I was climbing to next level in jobs quickly within my 20s, more than I have the desire to do that now, which I don't know if that's actually the opposite, maybe for some people, and that they do that later. But I feel that in my 20s, for me, it was all about that element. But I don't know, when I look back now, I feel like I was trying to prove something. I mean, I don't know who I was trying to prove it to. I couldn't tell you the answer. Um, but I really feel like in my 20s, it was like almost like I'm going to show people what I'm made of. I think that was my driver, whereas I don't care about that anymore. And so that's part of what shifted massively for me within my years. But thinking about it, like I had people that said things to probably put me down before my late teens. So I feel like there was maybe a drive inside of me to prove people wrong, and that's what
Yeah.
fed a lot of
Well,
my 20s.
what you just said makes also a lot of sense, right? It's like, okay, I am now an adult. Now this is what I want to do. And then you really try to, of course, what we said as well, that millennial mentality of like, you need to do everything and you need to achieve everything because our parents couldn't at our age. So you need to be better, you need to do more. And that in a way is what wanted us to, live our life in our 20s to the fullest, because the idea was that once you turn 30, it's over. That's
You also probably think that 30 is never going to be here.
yeah, no, that's true. Yeah.
And 30 comes, and then 40 comes, and you're like, oh, it'll be here one day. The other funny thing about getting older is like, I no longer think that a 60-year-old is old, or even really a 70-year-old. Like, I just have a different relationship with these ages, which I find interesting, because if someone's 70 or 75, I think of my dad. I'm like, oh, he's well abled, he can walk, he can talk, he doesn't have any health issues. I'm like, oh, it's really not that old. But like when you're 20, you're like, oh my God, you're 50? Ew.
Yeah.
That was so old.
Yeah.
I always think about the fact that, like, when I was young, I'd look at my parents and be like, these old, wise adults. And then I think, like, Mina and her friends are now looking at me. Like, I don't look that age. Surely they think I'm her sister, because I just think of them looking at me like I did my parents. I think there's just no way. Am I that old? Like, I must be. But your perception's just so different
I know.
of age.
Yeah, absolutely. Because as I said, like I was when I was crying at the gym the other day, right? I was like, oh my God, I'm just gonna be 40 really soon. But I don't feel 40 at all. I feel like I am so young still. I feel like, and again, my pension says I'm only going to start, getting my pension in like 30 something years. So I'm still very young.
Very
I still
young.
have 30 plus years to go until I can just like not work and live my life. So,
Oh, that's funny. I mean, think about how, I don't know if you guys thought this, like kind of dumb almost you thought your parents were when you were in high school and you're like, ugh, they have no idea what it's like
yeah.
to be me or 16. Like I'm missing out on this party. And now it's like, I feel like I've done everything. And so I just think about when I do have kids, I'm like, oh, they're not gonna be able to get away with very much. Like I'm gonna see right through all of it, you know? So it's also like you start to look at experiences and think through what it would be like on your side as the parent, as the adult. I was actually when Ultra was here in Miami, the music festival, there were these girls like I know I did this, but I'm going to sound real old right now. They're walking around in their little triangle bikinis with their little bikini bottoms on and like a small see through cover up. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, if you get too drunk or if you get roofied or you take too many drugs, all someone has to do is slip that little material off to the side and they got full access to your whole body. Like, let's put some clothes on. That's what I was thinking when I was walking through there. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's what I used to do. And you just have no control over your kids. You just have to trust that they're going to make a judgment. It is just so different being an adult looking at 20-year-olds than being 20 and looking at a 20-year-old.
I'm so terrified of having a teenager. Like when you were saying that, my heart was like,
Yeah,
because I'm
we don't
thinking of
know as
this.
well how the world is going to be
Oh,
when she gets to teenage years.
I'll just take her and I'll put her in the tower like on Tangled, and I'll be the Wicked Witch.
Good choice. Good choice, Jasmine.
That's funny. I was going to say, I'm going to do some of that stuff with my kids so that they know that they can talk to me and I'm there for them. And it's like not a secret, or else I feel like that makes
Yeah.
it worse to try and hide it. Like think about Europeans and Americans with alcohol. Turning 21 is like this giant deal. And Europeans like have no problem drinking. It's really not a big deal. Who cares? You know?
Yeah.
I won't really look her up, I promise. I'll just want to.
I wouldn't blame you though, Jasmine, because I'm watching all of these true crime documentaries and everything like that, and it's freaking scary being a woman. But like one of the things that you said, Lauren, is very relatable, right? So we said like we, love to party, love being out, whatever it was, like that, being to the mall with our friends or just doing something, but we always wanted to be kind of like out of our house doing activities and things like that. When I turned 30, at the beginning, I was also like that. Like I need to do lots of things because like, I'm running out of time. My life is kind of like finishing because I'm on my 30s already, right? But then I was having a conversation the other day with my fiance, and he was like, "So what do you like? What do you want? What do you want to do when you retire?" And I was like, "You know what? I'm just so happy in my house. I'm a very homey person, I love being in my house, cozy with a blanket, watching Netflix, watching true crime documentaries. And then when I'm old, maybe I will love to go out in the garden and just do things in the garden and just being in my house." And I was like, how did I go from being out all the time to loving being at home and not having FOMO anymore of things that I used to have a lot of FOMO if I was missing out? How did that happen?
Yeah. I mean, again, it's like the older you get, I think the less tolerance you have for people. I also think you become happier if you can find whatever it is that makes you happy. Your hobbies, your person, if you have kids, your family, if you love your house. Like I think all of those little things add up to make you feel whole and at peace at home. Because I'm the same. I'm like, oh, I got invited to dinner. Like, oh, which is funny.
And they're like,
right. It's just
I cannot do
like,
it anymore. And you're like, oh, so sorry.
Yeah, right. So, but like not 24/7 am I like that, but I feel like it's definitely more of a lot of self pep talks of, okay, we're going to go out. We got this invite. Who knows where it could lead? Let's go have fun. You live in a great city. It's like all these things. Whereas before it was just a no brainer. You're just like, okay, whatever. So I don't know. I feel like part of it's tolerance. Part of it's just like, think about how long you were like that for. If you're 37 and you're just starting to feel it and you started being social at 10, 15, even 20, that's 17 years of being social. So like now you're in year 1 of choosing not to be social. So it just feels good.
Yeah, because like Jasmine, I had like plans this weekend and then they were canceled very last minute. And at some point I was sad, but at the same time I was like, you know what? I'm so glad now that I don't have to drive all the way there and then all the way back and then have to get ready and then just be there all day and then get it home late. And I was like, I never thought I would see that positive side of missing out on an event,
I often think to myself now, I feel like I used to make really rash decisions, and I'm still quite bad for this. Like, I'll have an idea or something, and then it will materialize within an hour. I'm very like impulsive as a person, but I've realized now if somebody asks me or invites me somewhere, not to respond right there in the moment and to think about it before I respond. Because if it's a day where I'm feeling super sociable, then I'd be like, yes, sign me up, sign up to all the events. And then the next day, when I'm like my cozy home self, I'm like, oh, I've got all this stuff now that I've got to go to. So I think like I've learned to just actually take time to process and think about things now before I make decisions a bit more.
That's a really
That's
good
a gold nugget right there.
Yeah.
That goes for anything in life, actually. Never just make a quick decision about something unless you really have to. Try and take the time to think about stuff.
Yeah. Oh, wow. I'm going to apply that to myself because I mean, sometimes I feel like I am doing it, but not all the time. So I think I need to be more conscious about it so I don't get myself into, it's not trouble, when you say yes to things, but just not to then feel like, oh, I don't want to go or oh, I don't want to do this,
And sometimes I just get inspired and I'll sign myself up for something and then I realise that I was just in that moment feeling very inspired and now I've got to do the thing that I said I was going to do.
That's hilarious. Yeah, I was going to say that something I've been paying attention to is like how my body reacts when somebody invites me to something. Do I roll my eyes when I see their name on my phone or do I don't want to do that. Like, what's my reaction? Because I feel like the first reaction is your true reaction. And then we try to like cover it up and we're like, no, but they're a good friend and I should do this and blah, blah, blah. And you really have to justify and convince yourself that you should be there or whatever it is. And instead, it's like deep down, you don't really want to. I also think that as you get older, you understand this concept of time and how it's irreplaceable. You can never get it back. And therefore, you become more discerning about who you spend it with, how you spend it with, what time you go to bed. Do you want to be at home? Because those are just the things you can't get back. Like you had your weekend once your plans canceled. Part of you is like, okay, I'm happy about that.
But how do you, and this is obviously because like I am now in that process where I'm just, feeling like I don't want to do all of the things, but also how do you get through that guilt of saying no to something or to someone? Because like I am very jealous of my fiance because he's always like, if he wants to do something, yes, if not, no. And he doesn't give a fuck about what anybody thinks, And I'm like, that's what I aspire to be,
It's practice, setting boundaries.
Yeah. How do you do that?
I need this help. So Lauren, it's to you.
Oh, this is my answer. I thought we were all going to take a turn. Okay, so this is going to be a little woo-woo of an answer. I have Scorpio in my chart, and I think for me, it makes it a lot easier to say no because I'm very black and white. It's either I want to be there or I don't. Now, if it's like your best friend's baby shower, I don't really know if you have a choice, right? Like there's certain things where you don't have a choice. Yeah. Other things where it's like, oh, every time I leave, I get nothing from it. I think you just simply say like, hey, I can't make it and don't offer to reschedule. If you offer to reschedule, they're probably going to take you up on it and then you're going to be kicking the can down the road again. Yes. But it's like dating, which none of us are dating, but you have to ask yourself first, like, do I want to do this? Is this a waste of my time? Do I want to put makeup on, an outfit together, all those things? And then if the answer is no, then you don't have to give a reason. My mom always taught me that. You don't have to give a reason when you say no. You can just say, thank you for the invite, but I can't make it.
Oh, that's good. Cool. Yeah. Yeah, because
that's good.
Yeah.
Because like I don't know
It's,
why we always feel to give a reason, right? You always say no,
yeah.
Because you
and
feel
then you
guilty that you can't
you start
go.
getting into like a
Mhm.
Yeah.
ball and just like because
Mm.
la 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 la, and you're like, why
It's
do I need to
almost
justify
like
my
you have
answer?
to prove
Yeah,
that you're busy, and I have to prove I can't be there because I
yeah.
have this.
Mm-hmm.
And I think with
Yeah.
social media, at least I find this, social media doesn't allow you to like fully be who you are in the moment, because if you lied to this person about not being able to go there, then the next thing that you're doing, you can't really post about it, right? Like there's just like other
Oh yeah,
factors where you have to, it's like a ripple effect, which is kind of sick to think that way. But there's plenty of times I'm like, oh, can't post here. Oh, can't post here, you know? And it's like, darn,
yeah.
that kind of sucks.
I'm
But
doing
at the end
something
of the
so
day, if
exciting
the
and I can post.
totally like, all right, I guess I'll post it in a week. But you know, I mean, my kind of like rule of thumb is like if the person doesn't agree to not have you there out of self out of respect to you, out of the fact that you have enough self-respect for yourself to say that you can't make it, I feel like it kind of becomes like this bullying situation. And they're like, well, why not? Da, 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 da. I would be there for you, right? It's like guilt trip, gaslight, bullying. It's like all these things. And it's like, then you're not really that good of a friend if you're not just going to accept that I can't be there, you know?
Mm.
And I don't know. That's just kind of how I've had to take it. Like, if you're going to give me this hard of a time, I'm not interested in being your friend.
It's such a good lesson what you said about just like, sorry, I can't make it and not having to give a reason. I've never, that is something I'm going to teach Mila to do because I feel like that's just a good lesson and a good rule to have in life to not feel like you have to make an excuse to not do things. And I think something I struggle with is just, I always want to be a good person and I know I'm a good person. But I always feel like if I upset somebody, that makes me a bad person. I've always been this way. And sometimes upsetting people is just not within your control. Some people will be upset with you no matter what you do. Some people aren't going to like your choices. Like you can't please everybody. And I think that's something I've learned in my fees for sure, because I've just never wanted to upset anyone, but sometimes you have to put yourself first. And sometimes I found myself like bending backwards to do things when actually I would never expect that from somebody. So why am I doing it? You know, like
Yeah,
you I should only give to people what I would expect to me. I shouldn't feel like I'm having to
yeah.
do a
No,
million time things more than that.
that makes sense. And two things. So one, do you think because I'm exactly the same, or I used to be more like that. But do you think that is the way that we were raised? Like it's always that mentality of like you need to be good to that person and whatever. Like you cannot say no and just like give no answer. You need to kind of like say the reason why you cannot do things. But then also um on the other side, like the thing that you just said about I lost my train of thoughts. What was the last thing that you said? Oh
About
yeah.
not doing what you
Yeah.
like, not doing more than what you'd
Yes.
expect from other people.
So something that I've learned is if I do something for you, it's because I want to do it, but I should not expect that you are going to do the same for me because not everybody's the same. So I just got into situations where I'm just like, but I've gone the extra mile for you and I've done all of this for you. And then you do not reciprocate when it's my turn. Like that is so rude. And then I was like, well, not really, because I did this because I wanted to. I should not expect you to do the same for me because maybe you don't want to.
I mean, there's common courtesies, right? Like if you go to somebody's new house, you bring them a gift. If you go to their birthday, you bring them a gift. There's things that you just kind of can't get around. But like when you know that somebody's going to do something, it becomes an obligation, like you said. Like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
I guess I should do this because I know they're going to do this. But if that's what they want to do for you, like let them do it. You know, and I
Exactly.
think that like the boundaries and the self-respect comes from making yourself feel more comfortable than making other people feel more comfortable. Because like you said, Jasmine, like you're bending over backwards and then all of a sudden you're upset and resentful and you probably hate your life that day. And, you know, and it's like, why am I doing this? For what? For what?
Yeah.
If they're not going to do it for me, I mean, really, not many people in this world would do that kind of stuff for you, you
Yeah.
know, but it sounds like you know exactly what you do and when you do it. People pleasing is hard. And I agree, Soraya, it's very much a learned habit. And I also think
Yeah.
it's maybe if you don't like confrontation.
Yeah. Or you want to be kind of like the mediator. You want to make sure that, like at the end of the day, there can be a conflict, but you end up being like in a good space, both of
So
you.
maybe strengthening how to have hard conversations would help the people pleasing, because then you're not so scared to say no.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And again, I'm going to stop, obsessing over. If I do something and you do not reciprocate, it's perfectly fine because I did it because I wanted to. Nobody made me do it.
I've been reading a book. I actually need to finish it. I started reading it a while ago. I don't know if I've mentioned it before. The Let Them Theory. Have you heard of it? Yeah. So I feel like this links into that because I feel like that's really helped me. And I now think, if somebody does something that's upset me, or if I think somebody's not going to like me, I think, well, let them not like me.
Yeah.
Let them say something bad about me. Let them think I'm a bad person. How does that affect me? If I don't let it, it doesn't. Like you decide what you let in and what impacts you. And I've also just realized that I'm not going to be for everybody, and I'd rather be true to myself and spend time with people that truly like me for me, I guess, than feeling like I'm trying to please everybody. Because then what are you getting out of that if you're just doing what you think people want you to do? You're not getting anything, are you?
Yeah. Any of you, have you felt that until you got to this point where you are just now thinking more of yourself and less about maybe other people, and you're like happy with who you are? Have you felt that sometimes you had not been 100% true to your values because of what other people might have thought of you if you said something or did something? That had ever happened?
I definitely think like I look back now and it's we'll go back to this why question of why I do certain things. I definitely look back now and think that a lot of the choices that I've made throughout my life, they've been the choices I wanted to make. And that's how I felt at the time when I made them. However, when I look back now and think about really why I made them, it might have not been for the right reasons. It might have been what I felt I wanted at the time because it would look a certain way or because it would get me to this place where I thought I wanted to get to. Or I feel like there's definitely times in my life where I've made decisions or done things, or just because, like I said before, sometimes you just want to prove you can. Like sometimes you just, especially if you're already doing something, you want to keep going until you achieve that thing. And it can be really hard to stop doing something before you have achieved it. But sometimes it just doesn't, it's just not serving you anymore and you don't need to keep doing it. So yeah, there's definitely been things like that with me. And that's what I'm trying not to do now because time's, as I've already said, time is too precious that I don't want to waste it doing things that are for the wrong reasons. I need to think about what I actually want for myself. What about you, Lauren? Have you had the same?
Right. It just kind of relates back to like being in your 20s. In your 20s, you're young, you're still new to the world, you're vibrant, like you want the experiences. And I don't think, you definitely don't think that most 20-year-olds or 25-year-olds have the wherewithal to have a smart, confrontational, boundary setting conversation with someone. So it's a lot of yeses. And I think from saying yes to so many things, showing up at whatever it is or going on the date, whatever it is, and you're just like, why did I say yes to this? I don't want to be here right now. I think all of those tiny experiences are what add up to the sum of feeling like, okay, this is where my boundaries are coming in. I already hands down know without a blink in my eye that I don't want to do that. I don't want to be there. There's no way in hell. Could you pay me? Maybe $200 million I would consider, right? Like you start to find these different measures to understand what something means to you. And I think once you're super defiant in the answer, it's easier to say no, or it's easier to say yes, right? I mean, it's a very simple, like if it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no. I'm sure you girls have heard that. And I feel like that's perfect because there's no room for error. It's like, well, it's not a yes. So it just is automatically a no. And that makes your decision so much easier because there's nothing to think about. It's black and white. What about you?
That's so true. And I've never really thought about it, like if it's not a yes, maybe it's a maybe. But then it's true, like it's
A
either I
maybe's a
want to do
no.
it or I don't want to do it, or I want to
Yeah.
go here or I don't want to go here. But, I need to make up my mind.
It's made me think like a big shift for me from 20s to 30s was in my 20s, I believed in saying yes to everything
Yeah.
because I believed that I shouldn't let an opportunity pass. That was how I lived. I was like, if somebody offers for me to do something, even if I'm doing it for like free, but it's a good experience and I'm not getting paid or whatever, whatever these things are that we get asked to do. I used to believe in saying yes to everything because it's like, don't let opportunities pass, take everything while you can. And then now I'm more like only wanting to say yes to the things that I want.
Mm.
But then I guess that's the stage of life that you're in and your ability to be able to do that as well.
Yeah. But I still believe in that you should, like when you're younger, you should say yes to as many opportunities as possible because you are not going to have the energy
Yeah.
later on in life to do all of those things, right? But I really believe that, yeah, as we said, like the 20s is to like enjoy that moment and just, take all the opportunities and things like that. And then, yeah, in your 30s, you start like, analyzing a little bit more and being more selective of what you want. And then I guess in your 40s, you already are like, yeah, yes or no. I know what I
It's all
want.
from experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
what
So,
you get from saying yes to everything. If you say yes to everything, like you said, then you're open minded and you go into it with just whatever happens, happens. Like, I'm happy to be here. I just want to see what this is about. I want to meet the people. I want to, whatever, the event, whatever. And then as you get older, it's like, I've done that. It doesn't really do anything. And if you're a business person like we are, it's like, well, does that align with my business goals, values? Right. And then you start having a secondary set of traits that you look at or take into consideration when you're making decisions now.
yeah.
And
No,
family,
absolutely.
of course.
Absolutely. So for everybody listening to us that is in their 20s, keep saying yes. That's the time
Yeah.
to say
Have
yes.
fun.
Yeah,
Then
exactly.
you'll know when to say no.
Exactly.
Then when
You'll know
you'll
your
learn to say,
boundaries.
no, thank you, I can't make that.
Yeah. Yeah. And then when you're older, you'll be like, no, thank you. And then you will be like, no. That's it.
Yeah, my goal is once I'm in my 40s, I just want to send a straight no, nothing
Yeah.
else. No.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you know what? It's just like the other day, I watched, was it a meme or something on TikTok? I don't remember. But it was just like, I wanted to get to these, CEO or high management positions so I could just like answer in emails with, yes, okay, or thank you, that's good, or something like with like really short answers. And I feel like this feels like that, right? Like when you're younger, you're like trying to just be the best and be on everything and be noticed, da, da, da. Then you're like going up the ranks slowly, and in your 30s, you're like, I mean, what's important for me, this and that. And then when you are like getting older, you're like, yeah, no, that's my answer. No, you take it as it is.
I think you do realize though that everybody has this kind of understanding. I feel like once you get to a certain age, like everyone's just trying to do their job. Like everyone just wants to get their job done and go and live their lives. I do think in the workplace it actually like gets more comfortable to have less niceties and stuff because everyone just wants to get it done, so it's done. And then you move, obviously not being rude to people, but I think there's like this mutual understanding that you just want to get things done. You don't need as much fluff. I feel like when I was younger, I definitely added a lot of fluff to everything.
Yes.
Hi, I hope you had a great weekend. What'd you do? This is what
Yeah.
I did. Da, 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 da. Oh, by the way, this is actually a work email. The fluff. Oh my gosh. Yes, I agree with that statement.
Okay, so on the note of just grieving past versions of ourselves, I feel like we should quickly touch on like, is there anything you miss about your younger self that you kind of, are there parts of it that you miss?
Yeah, I think right now it's really just like the ability to be flexible and fun and not care and really just not be so responsible, right? It's like I was so fun and party girl. And now I'm like so responsible. If it's not on my calendar, I'm not calling you, just like, oh, like there's got to be an in between. Relax, girl. So I'm trying to get back to like a little bit more of the fun side while still being responsible and respectable without like overdoing it and overcorrecting. It's a weird thing to miss, but it does make me a little bit sad. What about you?
Yeah, I would agree. Like for me, like everything now is about balance, and I'm trying to balance out everything in my life because I feel like quite often when I'm like highly motivated towards a goal or if I've got a lot going on, the balance just is not like I'll either be full on and then I'll burn out and then I'll need to be off and then I'm just like going back and forth all of the time. So I think for me, I'm trying to find like just balance every day and making sure that my days are balanced. And the thing I think I grieve, just like I said earlier, hobbies, doing things for the sake of just doing it without
Mhm.
any underlying like motive or like a goal, just like, you know, at the moment I'm going out running, but I'm not trying to run at a certain distance. I'm not running at like for anything in particular other than to just do it. And then I'd like to like I'm hoping to make a bit of a list of little things that I want to go and try. Like I would really love to do a singing lesson because I used to sing when I was young, and I just want to go do it. I'm not a good singer. Like I could hold a tune. I was a musical theatre kid, so I could like sing musical theatre, but I've lost the skill like over time. But I'd love to just go and do it, even though I'll be terrible. I think I'd just really enjoy doing a lesson or going to do a dance class. And I'm going to do a bit of a bucket list and just like go, just like make sure that I find the time to just go and try things. I think seeing my daughter doing and experiencing things for the first time and the joy that she gets from like simple things has made me realize that we just like shouldn't lose that about ourselves and we should do those things. So that's what I that's what I'm grieving but trying to bring back in at the moment.
Yeah. 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 I think what I miss is getting ready in the mornings, because now I just like try to spend as much time in bed as possible, that then I don't really have time to get ready. And as you can see, wearing no makeup, zero makeup. And I used to get ready every morning and just do my makeup, do my hair. And I really do miss that. So I think that's why I'm like, okay, I'm just going to start doing kind of like my eyelashes that, you know, I put them on, they last a week. So I'm just trying to make it easier and slowly getting into that routine again. And really, really missing that part of like my younger self, like that willpower that she had to wake up early and just get ready, that I do not have right now. I
I
go to
think the
bed at
thing
10.
is, you work from home, don't you? And I feel
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
a lot of the times I'll work from home as well. And on a day that I'm working from home, often I'll think like, what is the point in
Yeah. True.
putting
Yeah. I
any
don't really
makeup
want to
on,
waste
whatever.
products, right?
But
Totally,
then,
100%.
yeah, but then sometimes it does make a difference. Like sometimes I think you totally have to know yourself and know how it will impact you in that day. Because some days I wake up and I'm in a mood where I don't think it's gonna bother me not wearing makeup all day, and actually I want to go for a run or whatever, and that I'll be happy. And then there's other days where if I'm gonna like go run a few errands, if I take that time to put some makeup on, I feel so much better when I'm out.
Yeah.
Like there's just that little confidence in my just walking around like that. Hi,
Yeah.
everybody.
No,
It's
100%.
just different rather than like shuffling in the shop with no makeup on and just sending my parcel or whatever he's doing. Sometimes it makes a difference, I think.
Yeah. 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 That's what I miss. I think I'm gonna try to go back to that. I think I'll be fine just to have some lashes on and then some tinted moisturizer, and at least I'll feel, like it's quick, it's fast, and I can still spend more time in bed, because as I said, I go to bed at 10. I used to wake up at 5 a.m. to go to the gym. And then obviously after COVID, the gyms now open later. So that means like
Mm.
I cannot go to the gym that early. But then I feel like that is kind of like the time. If it's not at 5 and I wake up later, it's just like, snooze the alarm, snooze the alarm, snooze the alarm.
I'm not a morning person, so I'm 100% with you on that.
Yeah. And I would love to be able to go to the gym in the evenings, but then it's full of like the bros, and then they take all the equipment, and then it's not enjoyable. And it's just like I go to the gym to just go do my stuff and leave. I cannot be there like for 2 hours trying to get equipment, or, I can't do that anymore. So I have to go in the mornings. And then I have
You don't
this
want to
kind
be
of
in there with the
like,
bros.
yeah, makeup. I prefer to be with like the old ladies.
Me too, don't we all?
So yeah, it's just like makeup, gym, makeup, gym.
They're going to make you feel better.
Yep. Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast for a second time. I think we had a plan on how we were going to talk through this episode. We derail as usual, but I think that's what is the beauty of our podcast, right? The way that we want it is like to be conversational, to be just friends talking on a girls' day or a sleepover type of thing. So I think that's the way that it goes. So thank you so much for coming on the podcast again. Hopefully we'll have you again because we really enjoy your presence here in the podcast. So if you have any other topic, please make sure that you let us know.
Absolutely. Thank you, girls. It's nice to see you again and talk about something completely different. Wow. It just like got straight to the heart on this one. I love it.
So for everybody listening, thank you so much for being with us on another episode, on another week. Please make sure that you subscribe to our podcast, that you like it, that you share it with your friends. If you can, we would love for you to leave us a review because, we want to make sure that the word gets out there and more people listen to our episodes. We still are up for the listeners' podcast, for the listeners' choice of the British Podcast Awards. So please make sure that you go into our bio and to our description of this episode and vote for us. And see you on the next episode.
Bye.
Bye.